Hey everybody, Pastor Vern here with your daily update, Friday, June 19th, 2020. A couple things I wanted to lift up to you before we get into today's subject. There was not a daily update yesterday. I took a day off to do some other things, and so you didn't miss it if you're someone who likes to tune into these dealies. But we're back today. A couple things I need to lift up to you. All right, here we go. One is Luell Perry's funeral is going to be Monday in the St. Ed Church. There will be social distancing observed. There's not going to be a meal because we can't do that, but you could still come and celebrate her life at that time. Second one is we're going to do some worship this weekend in Belgrade and in Fullerton. We're going to be at the City Park in Belgrade and at the lot across from the manse, the old Presbyterian church lot in Fullerton. That's our plan at this point. If the weather is okay, we're going to be there to do worship. It's going to be an outdoor worship, so bring your lawn chairs, whatever else you need to be comfortable. If you need sunscreen or bug spray or whatever it may be to be comfortable there. It's going to be a little bit of extemporaneous. I mean, we're just going to kind of figure it out as we go along. We're going to do that for a couple weeks. And then July 5th, our plan is to be in all our churches back to our original schedule. St. Ed at 8:30, Belgrade and Cedar at 9:45, and Fullerton at 11. There will be some changes. There will be some social distancing things we have to do. You should, if you haven't, you should receive a letter in the next day or so that will outline what's going on. We are going to do things in the best way that we can to ensure safety. But once again, as you see in your letter when you receive it, it's going to be up to everybody's discretion what works best for them. All right. So we will continue with online worship at least for the foreseeable future, so that you can still tune into that and share in that, or you can come out to one of the locations starting July 5th in every location. All right. I'm going to talk a little bit about another one of the requested words, and this one is parable. Now, parable is something we hear about. Sometimes we preach parable several weeks in a row, depending on which gospel we're in. And a parable is kind of it's a story, maybe based in fact, but maybe not. Some of the translations for a parable has it's a story with a double meaning. You hear your story. Let's take, for example, the parable of the prodigal son, about a son that's run off and blew his inheritance, and then he's poor, doesn't have anything to work with or live on, so he comes back to his father's house, hoping to be a servant or a slave, whatever term you want to use there, and at least having something to eat, and the father welcomes him back home. And that's the story, but the other meaning of it is that we are often God's prodigal children as we stray away and then come back, oftentimes during a time of hardship, as we're seeking some real meaning. It's an art of rhetoric that is well defined by Jesus. He was a master of that. It's metaphoric. Also, it has such a variety of things. It's stories, it's riddles, it's dialogues, it's monologues, it's discourses, it's proverbs. It's got every aspect of the types of speech, the types of communication that we see in the Bible, all end up in parables someplace. But what we really need to remember about parables is that they're lessons. And they're lessons on the surface, such as um, even though a son may betray the trust of his family, um, that loving father can still offer the son back into the fold again. And then and that's the kind of earthly part of it. And then the theological part where it's God welcomes us back. And you'll see that in all the parables. There's those meanings. Jesus used them in a teaching way, and one of the things that's interesting about the way Jesus taught his disciples, and then us through the scriptures is he very rarely came out and just said something, because he wanted us to think about it and move it from here, from the intellectual realization to the heart realization of it. So he would often use parables or stories or questions in order for us to really ponder what our relationship with God, what our relationship with Jesus, our relationship with the Holy Spirit truly is. And Jesus did not treat us like programmable robots where we could come with a specified response to any situation. He was teaching us to be very human, and he was teaching us to be very human in a way that we respond to circumstances as people who are made in God's image, and that is the image of love. So that's what I've got for you today on parables. We'll get back to this again next week. Watch for Worship will be downloaded probably on Saturday evening sometime, or very early on Sunday morning. Kind of depends a little bit on how things fall this week as I prepare to get back to some in-person worship. I'm looking forward to it. In fact, I'm a little nervous about it. I've done some celebrations of life and one little family wedding. Otherwise, all the preaching I've done has been to this little spot on the top of my computer screen. And so to get back in front of people is both exciting and a little bit nerve-wracking too. So we're looking forward to that, though. Looking forward to see those of you who feel comfortable coming out. And remember, it's your choice. There's no judgment on whether you are not prepared for that yet. That's fine. If you want to bring your mass, that'll be fine. In your letters that you should be receiving any time now, if you haven't received them, each church has a little different standard on some of the things that will be part of their process. Make sure you look at that so that you can fall within those protocols, so that we can have worship without having any type of having to adjust those things. Some locations may require you to wear masks. Others will strongly recommend it. Outdoors, we don't really have a recommendation, but if you feel more comfortable with your mask, that's surely welcome to do that. All right. Okay, we'll see you again on Monday. Y'all take care over the weekend. Watch out for yourselves and each other the best you can. And remember to keep the faith. We'll talk to you later. Bye.